Thanks for tuning in to the Prime Bookseller Podcast, the bi-weekly podcast discussing all things Amazon bookselling.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Prime Bookselling Podcast. I'm Eric, and we're back again, and this week we're talking about buybox. And buybox is, again, another thing. This is more of a term, so when you hear somebody mention this, you just understand what it is. Just kind of some advice again with the buybox. So basically what the buybox is that if you are shopping on Amazon and you have ever noticed, there's always a seller that shows up on the main product page of Amazon. And you can just simply click add to cart and it will add the item to the cart. Generally, if you watch this, most of the time, if Amazon carries a product, they're going to have the buy box, but they have changed that over the years now, and there are times where other sellers will get it instead of them, even if they are carrying the product. But either way, it is that seller that's in that primary page. If you don't hold the buy box, then you're only going to show up if you go down and you find the link that says 13 other sellers selling this at such and such price. You click that, and then it brings up all the sellers that are selling it, and somebody can pick your item and buy it. Why is this important? Well, it's said that about 80% of the sales on Amazon that are made happen through the buy box. So winning the buy box is a huge deal for sellers. It can triple, quadruple your sales. Now, I want to be very clear about this, that if you do not have the buy box, you can still get a sale. There's plenty of sellers that do their due diligence and click that link to make sure that they're getting the best value or whatever, especially when selling used books, because the culture behind books, I think, is way more established that these people know how to bargain shop. So do not worry about the fact that you might not have the buy box on every item or whatever. No seller has that. That is not a big deal. But what's important to understand about this is that there are things you can do to be keeping your metrics up and being a good seller are the main driving forces that help you win the buy box, and also being competitively priced. And another huge aspect of the buy box is Amazon does tend to still weight the buy box more to FBA sellers. So if you're putting your item in FBA, you're probably more likely to win the buy box. And that's one of the huge advantages of utilizing Amazon's logistic network and being an FBA seller, is that it increases your chances of winning the buy box. With that said, there are a lot of people out there. You may see somebody that says, we have a software that wins you the buy box every time, blah, 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 blah. And my advice for you with that is that Amazon does not want you to be able to manipulate the buy box. They keep the buy box very hidden. They try not to let people know what goes into deciding who gets the buy box. And it is one of these things that, maybe somebody out there gets smart and figures out a way to game the system so they can win the buy box every time. And maybe they make a software and they try to sell it to you. But the simple fact of the matter is that as soon as Amazon catches on to the fact that somebody has this software and has figured out how they're doing the buy box, they're going to change the buy box so that you stop getting the buy box. In fact, in many instances, they don't just make it so you get the buy box less. They will penalize you if they see you doing whatever that software is doing to get you the buy box. So the point of this is do not fall for, you want to win the buy box, but do not fall for gimmicky things that we can win you the buy box every time, because the best way to win the buy box is just to source well, run your business as a good business, and eventually some of your items will win the buy box. Just letting it happen organically is the best way to do it. Do not try to get into the weeds of gaming this system, because even if you do figure something out, it's just going to change and it's going to stop working. And it's not really a winnable battle. So it is important for you to understand that you want to win the buy box and you want to do everything in your power to win the buy box, but do not try to manipulate the buy box. Do not try to find a scheme that's going to get you in the buy box more often, because that scheme will just stop working. And the other important part about this is, if you are a new seller, as a new seller, you will, one of the beautiful things is Amazon wants you to start getting sales first, kind of build trust with you before they even make you buy back box eligible. So if you're a relatively new seller and you notice, there is a way to go into Amazon and see if, like, you can look at your listings in like your manager inventory, and it will tell you that if you're buy box eligible. And for many new sellers, you'll see that every item is going to say buy box ineligible. That is not because you're doing anything wrong. That is just simply that you're a new seller and they haven't gifted you with the buy box eligibility yet. And it will come in time. There is nothing you need to do other than just to run a healthy business, source good items, and put the items up and start getting sales, and eventually it will come. So I think this is going to be a pretty quick episode, but the main things I just want to re-outline is that buy box is that box that you get on the main page of Amazon. It is when you go look up any product, if you see the main page where there'll be an add to cart button right there, that is the buy box. There is a used buy box and there is a new buy box on generally every listing. There may be exceptions to that. If you're not, should be on most books, but they do suppress it sometimes. I couldn't even explain to you why they do that, but just know that you do want to win the buy box, but just realize that this is not something that you need to understand how to do it. It's more important for you to understand how to run your business effectively than it is to understand how to game the buy box, because trying to game the buy box is just a losing scenario. And the other important thing that you should always keep in mind is that, as a new seller, you may not be buy box eligible, and that is okay. It'll just come in time, and you just kind of have to, ride it out until they make you eligible. So, with that, that's really all I've got for the buy box. I'm going to wrap this episode up. I know it's a little short, but that's okay. I'm sure everybody out there has something better to do with their time than listen to this podcast. So we'll give you a short one this week. And as always, if you do have questions, just let us know. You can reach out at sales, SALES, at kingsridgemedia.com. And also just take a look down in our show notes. Check out some of the services that we offer to Amazon booksellers. And if something seems like it would be of interest to you, please feel free to reach out to us, and we'll get you started. We'll get a call set up, and we can talk to you about what we can help you to accomplish. I will be back again in 2 weeks with another episode, and I thank everybody for tuning in.
Thanks for listening to the Prime Bookseller Podcast. Join us for the next episode as we discuss all things Amazon bookselling.